You might recall recently that there was a situation, headlines about Education Secretary Betsy DeVos being greeted with boos and backturns as she delivered the commencement address at Florida's Bethune-Cookman University. We talked about it. We showed this video here on our show. Now, the university president stepped in and she told the students to cut it out, or they would be receiving their degrees in the mail. But many people asked why in the world DeVos was even asked to speak at that school to begin with, knowing the students were against it. Bethune-Cookman University was named after a woman named Mary McLeod Bethune, and we are joined now by her granddaughter, Dr. Evelyn Bethune, via Skype. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right, so you're going to give us a different perspective on this story, and the great thing is it's from the perspective of your family. The first thing I want to ask you, is everything that we saw, I mean, was that an accurate portrayal of what happened that day during the commencement ceremony?
I think that it was cut to suit the administration. The students did protest. They stood, all of them, and turned their backs. They also had another program going on with their backs turned. They chanted. They made it clear, however, prior to the ceremony that they did not want Ms. DeVos as their commencement speaker.
Okay, so when
it wasn't the students who were booing, it was the audience.
So when this all occurred, I mean, how did you and your family feel about this? What was going through your minds?
Well, all of this started probably 15 days prior to commencement. And when I first heard it, I really thought somebody was joking me. I felt like I was in what I call just like the netherworld, that somebody was really pulling a joke. And then they said, no, it's not a joke. We're serious. And I could not believe it. I found it to be highly insulting for her to come for commencement, because commencement is very sacred, and especially at Bethune-Cookman, which is founded on faith. And the students attempted to have meetings and to discuss it with administration and were not heard. They were ignored and told to take it, basically, and keep it moving, because it was not going to change. And so we walked in the street and protested. That didn't do anything either. We signed petitions. That didn't work. And so they said, we have to show that publicly that we do not agree with this.
Dr. Bethune, do you have any idea why she was invited to speak there in the first place?
I cannot speak for the thought processes of the administration, but I can tell you that the overall feeling is that it was connected to funding. Some misguided thought that it would ensure money in the federal budget, which it can't, because there's nothing that comes out of that administration that you can believe until it actually happens. And so many people, to tell us that we're doing this for $4 million. $4 million spread over 32 HBCUs is no money, period.
So I probably know the answer to this question I'm about to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you think that the students should actually have more say in who comes to give the commencement speeches?
I believe that students have paid the price to have input as to who speaks at their commencement. They have done all that they were supposed to do. They have completed the challenge. They have met the requirements, and they have paid their money. And at Bethune-Cookman, tuition is around $23,000 a year at this point, and I'm told it's going to be raised next year. So they're paying a pretty steep price. And it is always good to include everybody in the process.
Well, Dr. Bethune, you're keeping your family legacy alive by continuing to make the Bethune name proud. Can you tell us a little bit about your career as an author and a publisher?
Well, I own Bethune Publishing House. It is located in Daytona Beach, Florida. And it was started because I believe that we have to have a venue to tell our stories. and to capture our history on a local and national basis. And so that's what our publishing company is about. Our platform is literacy. If you can't read and write, you can't do anything. And that was my grandmother's thrust in starting an institution of learning. Learning is lifelong. And Bethune-Cookman is anchored in that. We were founded on faith. Our motto is enter to learn, depart to serve. And so our family legacy is built on that. I grew up in an advocacy position. My dad, my brothers, my family have always been community activists. And even when you try to escape it, it's on your DNA. You can't get away from it. So you must just go on and embrace it.
Dr. Bethune, your grandson, CJ, was actually graduating. He was in the graduating class. He got his master's in transformative leadership. So congratulations, first of all. But what was his take on all this as he was in the crowd? And I noticed from the video, he was one of the students that did turn his back. So obviously he felt a certain kind of way, but I'm sure as a grandparent, you had a conversation with him, a real conversation. What are his feelings and his thoughts?
Well, my grandson also grew up in a house of advocacy and activism, and he has been taught to be a free thinker and to express his opinion. He asked if I thought, he said, "Grandma, is this really going to happen? Are they really going to bring her here?" And he said there's so many other ways that she could come to Bethune-Cookman without being our keynote speaker. So that there could be a dialogue. And when I said to him, I truly believe she is coming and it's not going to change, he said, well, we're going to do something to let people know that we don't like that.
And it sounds like you're actually proud of the students for taking the stand that they did.
Those students were very brave because leading up to this, they got a very clear indication from the administration that they could very well not receive their degrees or be fined, and that was, you know, very disheartening to me, because Bethune-Cookman is a place where there has never been exclusion. We've had Stokely Carmichael, we've had Minister Farrakhan, but there were always, and they were brought as speakers, and there were opportunities prior to their coming to be the speaker for there to be real dialogue with all students and the community. This did not happen that way.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Bethune. We appreciate it. You have a wonderful day.
Well, God bless you.
Thank you so much. Take great care of yourself.
Bye-bye. All right, if you'd like to hear more from Dr. Evelyn Bethune, you can visit Blog Talk Radio and tune in to her internet-based program, Sweet Tea with a Chaser. Ooh, I like that with a chaser. It's every Monday night starting at 9. Coming up next, each day, most of us consume caffeine in some form, but when does it become life-threatening? Dr. Ali is in next, and he's going to explain. And if you're the parent of a teenager, oh no, I think I'm done, right?
When we say consultations are free, we mean it.